It's currently 7 in the morning and we got some meat to smoke. Today, we're gonna be smoking the famous pork butt. Check it out with me. We're gonna season it up, throw it on the Traeger for about 7.5, 8 hours. I got started early because I know this is gonna take a while. This pork butt looks really nice. It's from an online butcher called Wild Fork. Now I did like the ribs that I had from them, but I did have some steaks from them that were super thin, and for some reason when I thawed them out, they kind of just like fell apart. I'll try them again. We're gonna try this out. This looks really good. So as soon as this finishes thawing, we're gonna throw it on the Traeger, 7.5, 8 hours. Let's get started. Now it's time to season our pork. Today, I'm gonna hit it with the base layer of the Cajun Trinity from Cajun Two Step. This stuff is really, really good. I just want a light base, so be careful. Flip it over, do the same thing on the other side. Now we're gonna hit it with the Traeger pork and poultry rub. This stuff is super good. It's apple and honey. This time we're gonna get a heavy coat because this is what we want to set in for our bark. Again, this is just a backyard cook you guys could do. This is my first time doing this. If you guys have any tips, anything to share, please don't hesitate. I'm not gonna be offended if you wanna share anything with me because I'm new to this and I really don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm trying it out. We're gonna try new flavors, we're gonna try new spices, we're gonna try new methods, and we'll just see what works for us. But of course, if you guys have any recommendations, send those over, please. I probably should have done this before seasoning, but I'm just gonna put a few score marks here on the fat. Help get the flavor in, help let that fat render down. Now, I don't know if this is too much fat. It looks like a lot of fat right here. It's a little thick, and normally I'd trim this down, but they cut it so well that I didn't want to mess with it. And I wanted to test to see if this fat is going to be a problem later in the future, or if I should just keep it on and not worry about that much fat. So if you guys have any tips for that, let me know down in the comments. Now we got our Traeger cranked up to 250 degrees. It's ready to go. Time to throw the pork butt on and get it on and let it smoke for at least 2 hours before we give it a check. Now we're back at the Traeger after 2 hours. It's been in here at 250 degrees. We got the two tools we're gonna be using now, which is a spray bottle with apple juice and our meat thermometer so we can check our temperature of the internal meat. We can see here that bark's starting to set in and it's looking really, really nice. So let's go ahead and check the internal temp. Now I'm just gonna give the pork a light spray so we can keep it moist. Now that we've sprayed our meat and checked our internal temp, which was about 73 to 75 degrees, which means it has a ways to go. But now that that has happened, we're gonna let it set for another 2 hours, 2.5 hours before we come back out and check it, and then it may be time to wrap. I'll see you guys then. Bringing you back at that 4th hour. We're just gonna check it out. Wow, that looks beautiful. Let me bring you guys in for a closer look. Our fat's starting to render down really good. It's getting a little dry, so we'll wanna spray it, but before we do, we're gonna check the internal temp. Looks like we're at about 143, 145 on the internal temp. So that's good. We got a few more degrees to go before we start to wrap it. But again, it's starting to get a little dry, so we want to go ahead and spray it. Now I saw this on a channel the other day. I don't know how well this works. But right here, I got a skillet of barbecue sauce. And for the rest of the cook, we're gonna go ahead and put this barbecue sauce inside of the smoker so we can get that good smoky flavor. And this is the barbecue sauce we're gonna be using for the pork. Now we'll just be closing it for another 2 hours. Or an hour. We'll come check it out, make sure that it doesn't need to be sprayed, and we will also be wrapping it at about 155 to 160 degrees to get it through the thermal stall and also get to the next step in our cook. So we'll be back and we'll check it out, but right now it's looking beautiful. Now we're back outside at the Traeger. We're gonna be checking our meat temperature to see if it's time to wrap. But when it's cooked fully, we wanna get that 195 to 205 temperature. Right now we're gonna open it up, see what it looks like. We're about 1.5 hours from the last time we checked it. So a full 5.5 hours on this cook so far. So let's open this up and see what it looks like. As you guys can see, it's looking really nice. This fat is rendering down. We're just gonna check the internal temp. It's like we're around 147. It's reading about 145 in other places. The internal temp was reading about 145 to 155 in a few places. So I'm gonna let it sit on here just a little bit longer, maybe 30, 45 minutes. I'll come back and then we're gonna wrap it up and we'll put it back on for another 1.5 hours to 2 hours or until it gets to that 195 or 205 temp. Then we'll take it off and let it rest and be ready to enjoy. We're now back outside at the Traeger, and as you guys can probably hear, it's a little windy, so I apologize if you hear that, but we're gonna open this up. It's been about 45 minutes since the last check, and once we open this, we'll be wrapping it and putting it back on for another 1.5 hours to 2 hours, depending on how long it takes to get up to temp. It's now time to take our pork off the smoker and wrap it up and get it back on the smoker. Now that we've got our pork wrapped up, it's time to place it back on the Traeger. Obviously, with such a long cook, we want to make sure we keep our hopper full of pellets. So let's go ahead and let's refill our hopper now. Now we're back outside at our smoker, and it's been about an hour, 45 minutes, almost 2 hours since we checked it last. So we're gonna unwrap it and we're gonna check the temp and see if it's time to come off or if it needs to stay on a little longer. Right now, our internal temp is reading at about 175, so we're going to crank it up from 250 to 275 to see if we can't get that to cook just a little bit faster, because we need to get that up to temp. Not that taking longer is bad, but we just want to hurry up and get that done because we're trying to eat. It's been about 8 to 8.5 hours when you factor in the time we have spent with the Traeger open and the time that I've spent getting extra shots with the camera. So now we're gonna open it up, hopefully for the final time. We're looking for that good 195 to 205 temp. So hopefully, again, when we open it up, we'll get that. So let's see. We got that good internal temp of 195, some places 198. We're gonna take this off, cut it open, and I'm gonna show you guys what it looks like. It's been resting now for about 30 minutes, so I'm excited to take this off after an 8-hour cook, and let's just see how we did for our first time. Wow, that does look absolutely beautiful. It feels tender, like it's just gonna fall off the bone, which this is boneless, so there is no bone, but it's definitely tender. Here we go. I should be able to just pull it. Wow, look at that. That is absolutely stunning. Needless to say, I am super proud of my first pork, but it's absolutely stunning. I'm about to go make a pulled pork sandwich with some barbecue sauce, so I'll catch you guys in the next one.